Go.
Wheedly do 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 do. Wheedly do 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 do. Wheedly do 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 do. Wheedly do do. What is
This is
happening?
what happens when we are gone for way too long. When we are gone for way too long, my computer takes a complete nosedive. I have to reset everything, and I don't have my audio stuff set up. We don't have our video overlays set up. So we're going pretty raw and dirty with this episode. But you're getting the anti-news again. So welcome
I
back.
literally, I literally just Googled how to mute my microphone on Skype because I don't have my
And that was
virtual
after 5 minutes
soundboard.
of looking around trying
Yeah.
to figure it out on your own.
Yes, yes, that's usually how it goes. And so, because before we went to a break, I was so good at finding the mute key and unmute key, so I wanted to make sure I was back to that status.
It's not like riding a bike. Things fall off. It's like it's like riding a bike. We still have it, but it's like you go back to get on your bike, and the bike has fallen apart over the years that you've been gone, and you're still trying to ride the
So
same
true.
bike.
Or it's like you've gone and pulled pieces off your bike to use on other
Right.
bikes over time, and then it's like, I want to ride that bike again. Let me go see if I can find all those parts that I ripped off before.
Exactly.
My biggest problem was before I had a desktop, and so everything stayed in place and never moved. Well, then right before you decided to call it quits, I bought a laptop, and so everything gets unplugged, plugged in, settings get changed and swapped. My microphone and webcam were both up in my living room because I had to record a speech for college, and so everything was just all over the damn house. Not to mention the settings all being screwed up too.
Well, welcome to the Anti-News, the place where we talk about the things that are supposedly going on in the world, and we make fun of them and watch the world burn together and have a good old-fashioned chuckle. This is a place where we drink the drinks, smoke the smokes, and just point out the nonsense that is happening all around us. So, Craig, well, actually, not Craig. I'll go first because even though everything has changed and we no longer do the anti-news on a regular basis, even though that has changed, I have not because I am still smoking Snow My Gush Blues and I am drinking Fear Movie Lions Stone Double IPA. Same as before,
I
just like you left me. I'm here and doing the same things.
thought you were gonna say you were drinking White Claw.
I am not.
Kind of looked like a White Claw can.
It does, but it's quite different.
Oh,
It's
okay.
what's on the
Just
inside that
check.
counts.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So as you know, shortly after we went and took our hiatus,
What are you drinking?
I
What are you
quit
smoking?
I quit vaping. Remember
Uh
that?
huh.
You
Yeah.
remember?
And you've been completely sober and
Clean
have
and
not
sober.
clean and sober and have not touched a vape since, right?
So I don't think we ever talked about it on here. Maybe we did. How I threw my tirade and threw my vape in the trash can.
I don't think we did talk about it on here. We've been
Uh,
together in person. We might have talked about it on a bonus episode or something.
yeah, maybe. Well, I threw a tirade and threw. No. So it wasn't too long, or right around the time we called it quits. I was thinking I should probably cut back on this because I do it constantly, and B, my batteries were going to shit on my vape, and then also the battery door had broken, like the tabs on it, so I was like taping the dumb thing together just
That
to get it to
that
work.
is annoying as crap.
It was really annoying, and so one day I sat there and I would charge the batteries fully charged, and then I'd stick them in, and I'd hit it twice, and it would say your battery's low. So that day I came home from work and just threw the thing in the trash can, and my wife was like, "Why'd you do that?" I was like, "'Cause it's a piece of shit." Well, then that was on a Wednesday, and my trash goes out Wednesday night to the road, and so Thursday, probably around 10 o'clock, I was like, "Ah, shit, that's gone forever." And so I was just like, "Well, I guess I'm quitting."
Rager's
So
remorse.
yes, yes, definitely. So, um, to keep things clean and like keep myself accountable, I started like smoking a pipe like a chimney instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was just really frustrated because I didn't want to do that inside the house. And so, um, I met you for something. I think it was like 4th of July or something like
Yeah,
that.
probably. We missed
And
June and July for this.
I know. And so you had your vape, and I was like, let me get a hit off that. And it was kind of like the Friends episode where Chandler starts smoking again, and he takes a hit on the thing, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And that's pretty much. I might have literally said that
You
too.
did. You did. You even talked about that Friends episode a
Yep,
couple
yep,
times, probably.
probably. And so I think it was like 2 days later, I texted you and was like, "Hey, what vape do you have?" And then within 2 days after that, I ordered the vape, and then back on the bandwagon.
As I've said before, I believe on this show, this is the best that I've had. And if you want to know what it is, just shoot me a good old message because I've gone through several, and this is the only one that if it stopped working, I would buy another of the same because it's very reliable. But most people don't care at all about this thing that we're
Right.
talking about. So let's move on to
But I am smoking. It's called Straw Bizzle.
Straw Bizzle.
Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster.
Yes,
It's
because
by.
when you think vaping, you think gangsta.
I do. I don't know about you, but I do. It's by. Who's it by? Elysian Labs, which is kind of funny because I'm drinking Elysian Space Dust.
What?
What? I don't think. I'm pretty sure they're not the same company, not related. Well, no, because this one's spelled Elysian, and this one's spelled Elysian. Never mind. So
Wow.
they're the same.
Just when you thought that it couldn't get any more boring, you had to go and completely outdo yourself. Anyway, so that's the very exciting world of what we're drinking and smoking, which took way too long. But let's get into what we missed in the last 2 months. And we can start off before we roll the little video intro, because I did find the video intro. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes digging through files and files and files to track that down. But I found it, so we're going to play it, because we got to start out the show with that. But before we do, I'll give you guys the latest in the entertainment news. And maybe we can dig a little deeper into some of them, but I'll just breeze through them right now. We've got The Lion King apparently sucks. We've got Mulan that looks really boring. We've got Little Mermaid, who is played by a black girl, which is a little bit ironic because of, the whole stereotype about black people in water. I discovered Billie Eilish, our grandpa died, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Anyway, so
Way more stories than that.
No,
Like
that was
there's real
just the
things
entertainment
going on
news.
in the world. Oh, gotcha. Well, in the not so entertaining news, more entertainment. Katy Perry got her pantsuit off her by a
No, we're not
Christian
getting
artist.
deep. We're not getting into the stories yet. We got to roll the intro
No.
first. I was just
Got her-
giving a glimpse.
Let's see. Jeffrey Epstein is in trouble again. Is it Epstein or Epstein? Did we ever come?
I prefer Epstein. I have no idea, but that's what I like better.
And then you could be paying fines for sharing memes now. Welcome to that world.
Welcome to 2019. We'll see how far we can make it into it. Also, we're going to have to talk briefly about the Democratic debates that happened last night, or as I like to call them, the confirmation of Trump 2020, and Trump's
Nice. I
promo
like it.
ads. That's basically what they are.
Free promo.
The best promo. It's gonna be
The
huge.
best free promo.
All right, let's. I
The
don't
best
have.
free promo money could buy.
We're still kicking the rust off, obviously, but we'll see if we can get the wheels greased up a little bit as we go here. But to do so, we have to, of course, play our intro, which Craig, I don't think he'll be able to hear it, so just bear with me.
I'm okay with that.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
But ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
Half the stuff is what I call nastiness
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that which matters most. We are still here!
We have to say yes to
When you want to know tomorrow.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Boom, snick, boom, ba-doom, snick, snick, boom, boom, snick. Craig, where are you?
I am here.
Oh, cool.
I
Glad
was
to have
trying to unsqueak my chair.
you. Oh, that's interesting. So here we are. Here we are back. And I feel like we should start off with some local news. I don't know if you noticed that I snuck Grandpa dying into the entertainment news, but I did, and you didn't. You didn't even flinch a little bit. So I'm guessing you didn't notice.
No, I noticed.
Okay.
I just didn't realize it was just entertainment news till after that. So, but that is kind of morbid, but kind of entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't find it entertaining. That's a joke, obviously. But is there anything that you want to get into on that? Back when Grandma died, we predicted it ahead of time, and that happened. And there was something about this one that was strange too. I don't remember what it was. Something similar to a prediction, but I don't know.
I don't remember this. How? Like, we haven't been on here. How did we predict it?
It wasn't us. It was, I believe, me and somebody else. But anyway, this one was much less of a surprise. It was very quick and without warning, but it was kind of like inevitable for the last year or so.
Well, pretty much since Grandma died, he's just kind of, I mean, when you're with somebody, 60, 65 years, and you're already almost 88 years old, and that person goes away, it's just like, well,
yeah.
If I live, I live. If not, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I mean, he went downhill quick after Grandma died, which I don't know what kind of condition he was in before Grandma died, but it wasn't nearly as much of a shock to me because, I mean, we all kind of, I mean, he made it for longer, honestly, than I had assumed he would after Grandma died, just because that's just kind of how things go.
Right. Yeah, and Mom, I was talking to Mom about it, and she said that he was like, he was kind of somewhere else a lot of the time, and he would be thinking that he was like on the farm and like had to go upstairs and get dressed and gonna go see Grandma and stuff, and like
he hasn't lived there since 1961.
Right. He hasn't lived there since long before either of us were even alive, which is like as far as I knew, they've lived in that house since they were born together, but and nothing has moved in it ever since. But
exactly.
I mean, there's a part of me that's like, it's kind of, I mean, that's kind of sad, but it's also kind of awesome because he probably died thinking that he was in a happier time than he was.
I hope so. The odd part to me, which you can chalk it up to coincidence or chalk it up to him just kind of knowing at that point, but the Saturday before he died, because he died Sunday.
Yeah.
That Saturday morning, our aunt had been staying with him since our grandma died, and he just kind of always sleeps until like 10 o'clock or something like that. Well, that day he was up at like 7 o'clock. He was up like bright and early. And he's like, we need to get breakfast. It's time to go home. And then that afternoon he was in the hospital, and by the next morning he was gone. And it's just like, well, that's kind of odd. Might be a coincidence. Might have just been his brain doing whatever, or maybe he just knew. Look, that's it. This is the end of the road. It's time to go.
We gotta eat. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I'm hungry. I don't want to go out with an empty stomach.
So what was the last meal? Did he end up going to get breakfast?
It was probably like Spam and noodles or something like that. Something weird that our family eats.
Yeah, probably. Additionally, we got together with the family and everything, obviously, for and after the funeral and stuff, and hung out with some people that we don't get to see very often, which was cool. And also, now I know that some of you guys actually do listen to this show, and you just don't like to talk about it in real life, except for when it comes up. So, if you're hearing this, hey, what's up? Because I know that because our grandma had all these music boxes, and she said that each grandkid was going to get a music box, and gee, thanks. I mean, cool. I'm sure they have sentimental value to her, and it's nice and stuff, but yeah. Anyway, that's been a discussion that's gone on since we were like 5, and I was talking to Mom about it, and she was like, so there's these music boxes left. I don't remember which one she said was yours or whatever, and there was like a train station, like an old lady one, and a couple
Hummingbird.
other... Yeah, a hummingbird, and creepy clown. And so guess what I chose?
Obviously.
It's like, I'm going to take that creepy clown, and I'm going to get good use out of him. I'm sure that that's what Grandma would have wanted, for him to be a stage prop for Unoffensive Podcast. But, yeah, I know that some of our cousins, in particular, listen to the show now. They had mentioned things
and
briefly here and there before.
Apparently watched the show, too.
Right, not just listened. You've watched, and you're probably watching. And we know because 2 people within the span of about 15 minutes came up to me and said, oh, you got that? Are you going to use it for a background thing in your podcast? I'm like, I am now. I mean, I was going to anyway, but it's strange that you not... I mean, they went to the dark place of use it as a stage prop. They didn't need me to say it. They just
knew you that well.
Yes.
Well, the funny thing was, after those 2 cousins both pretty much said the exact same thing, I went back to Mom's house that night, and she was like, so did Daniel get that clown music box? I was like, yep. And she's like, he's probably going to use it on his podcast. I was like, you're not the first to say that, or the second.
He, for the time being, he is currently taking the place of Independence Day alien right here next to Sharky, the dead baby shark. So I think that's what Grandma would have wanted. I think that's what she had in mind all along when she bought that 100,000 years ago. So that's that, and let's move on to some actual news. We could talk about that more, but people don't care too much. So
I care.
Well, I care too, but we're not the listeners. Well, you're like 50% of our audience, but
pretty much. This is about the only podcast I listen to is the AntiNews. So I haven't listened to podcasts. Literally, haven't listened to a single podcast since the AntiNews, and that's not even a joke.
That's really sad. Nobody else has listened to a podcast since the AntiNews either. So you are muted. Holy shit! Hashtag fire Craig.
I told you I don't have my soundboard in front of me, so Skype doesn't keep the icon up unless you're like moused over it, so I can't actually see. Yeah. But it's not like it made a difference when I did have a soundboard, so who cares?
Now, before when we kind of put this as a here and there show, I said we'll be back anytime there's like debates or big news and stuff. In the last 2 months, there's been 3 Democratic debates. There was another one tonight on the day that we're recording this. And Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. And
Area 51 is getting raided.
Tried to kill himself. Area 51 is a distraction. All sorts of fun stuff has been going on in the world, which we did not come back for because no matter how much I want to, schedules just aren't what they used to be. But do you want to do some lighthearted stuff before we get into deep?
Let's start out fun.
Okay. All right. I'll start with the fun one here. This comes from trutherfiction.com, so you know it's legit. Actually, you don't, based on that title. But I've seen this article on several different websites, so it's not their original, and it is legit. This is the fun one for the night. Bucket of heads, cooler with genitalia alleged in body parts broker raid.
That's not lighthearted. That's gross.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Well, I'm going to keep going. In July 2019, a number of macabre stories circulated on social media that were based on recent reports that an Arizona facility was supposed to be processing bodies donated to science. Was the subject of a gruesome and macabre raid. In July 2019, local news stations reported that the unsettling practices had apparently been uncovered in 2013 and 2014. This is a quote here. Agents found buckets full of body parts and different people sewn together and hung up on a wall, according to a testimony by one of the agents. In 2014, the FBI raided the facility in hazmat suits as part of a multi-state investigation into the illegal trafficking and sale of human body parts. For the first time, testimony from one of the FBI agents who conducted the raid has been released to the public. The agent said he found a, quote, cooler filled with male genitalia.
That is so wrong.
Comma.
And disgusting.
Comma.
I've read the story.
A bucket of heads, arms, and legs. I mean, how big is the bucket if it can fit multiple heads?
Yeah, right. I mean, what are we talking, like a 50-gallon drum full of heads,
right.
or
infected heads? A small woman's head sewn onto a large male's torso, like Frankenstein.
That's the creepiest part. That's because it's not like, hey, these were the throwaway parts that we couldn't use anymore.
Or
they're clearly
the
doing
fridge.
really fucked up stuff with this.
Right. I'm not sure what's worse, the dick fridge or the Frankenstein monster.
Well, this one's not good enough. I tried it already.
Why were they in a fridge? What's your plan? What are you gonna do with it? I mean,
was it like an old school, like the grandma dinosaur fridge that we wanted to steal?
That's the only thing I can see. It has to be like a dingy warehouse with an ancient, like 60s refrigerator.
Yeah, the lever you got to pull to open it.
Of course. Yeah. So, do you think that this is? I mean, they're talking about like black market body part sales and stuff, but what do you do with a freezer full of dicks? And why do you have a Frankenstein one? It sounds like they were just like, I hate my job. I am bored. Let's just screw around.
Exactly it. I mean, what would you do if you had a bunch of dicks just laying around?
These are completely useless. They went their whole life thinking that this is all that matters, and now it has zero use to anybody. Throw it in the fridge. Throw it in the dick fridge.
Look at your dick now. It's in a bucket with a bunch of other dicks.
No, it's in a fridge.
Now how important is your dick?
Very, very strange, but kind of awesome in some ways.
Honestly, as morbid as it sounds, I mean, people get bored. What do you do? I mean, you got all these body parts. Start putting them together. Make a puzzle out of it.
I mean, when you're working that job, you're like, I've got this head. I got to throw it away because it's no good. It turned or whatever. The expiration date came up, or I don't know how the shit works. I've got this body. Why not? I mean, it's been a slow week.
So wrong. Oh, what's wrong with people? It sounds like something off like American Horror Story or something like that you'd see on like a horror movie or a TV show. It's just so wrong. Like I have no like even desire to look at a dead body, even my own grandpa's body at a funeral.
It's never the same.
No, like Mandy has suggested before, jokingly, she's like, I want to go be a mortician. I'm like, why the hell would you want to do that? Why would you? Because she works at a hospital. She cleans at a hospital at night, and they have to clean the morgue or whatever. And she said regularly they will open the fridge to see if there's or the lockers to see if there's bodies in there, and there never has been. But I'm just like, why did you do that? Why would you want to see that?
Right.
I have no desire to see, smell, touch anything.
Right. Especially I don't know. I'm not sure what's worse, a person you knew or a stranger. Because a stranger, it's like, I don't know how long you've been here. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you. I'm just looking at your dead body. Oh. You might not even be dead. You might have just got here. Ugh. I don't know. Just
got to chill. Gross. But anyway. Then your own relative, it's like, well, that was my grandpa, and now it's a corpse.
Right. Like,
with a lot of makeup.
The only way, I mean, it kind of gives closure because not in the way that they think it does. It's not like, oh, I got to see him one last time. No, it gives closure because you see it and it's like, oh, that's not him. All right, well, he's gone. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it is good that they don't make it look very much like the person you knew.
Yeah.
But,
It's weird. Should I tell the story about what I wanted to do with the GoPro at the funeral?
The risk of offending all the family members listening? Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So I was asked to to film the funeral, which is done, and it's a beautiful, heartwarming tale of a man. But before, when I was setting up all the cameras and stuff, I had a GoPro, and I was debating on where to put it. And I walked up to Craig, and I was like, should I take this and like put it on the casket as a reaction video? Just cut to a reaction of Grandpa, and it's just dead body.
The worst part of it
says
is
reaction cam down at the bottom.
The worst part of it was, I assume if you would have done that, you would have seen Grandpa give an appreciative nod during certain parts. It's just like,
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. He gives the old church.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm preaching. Yeah. So I didn't, but
you seriously wanted
it
to.
Should have been. It's something that should be in a movie because it'd be hilarious. Anyway, moving on.
Part of me wishes you had, just for maybe the blooper reel. I don't know.
The behind the scenes of a funeral. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, rest in peace, Grandpa. I hope you made it. Moving on. Let's see. Here's one to lighten the mood, and this one actually might a little bit. Quote, I am a cat lover. 79-year-old woman sentenced to jail for feeding stray cats.
That's the way our mom's gonna go to jail.
Yeah. To serve and protect. That's you know, what cops do, right?
Yep, of course. And the court systems, and was it a jury trial? Did we actually pay people to sit on the jury for this trial?
Thank God this piece of shit is off the streets, man. Let me tell you.
No kidding. I mean, we don't need any more cat feeders out there. Come on.
I mean, I doubt there's anything that will surprise you in this story, but I'll read just a little bit of it. A 79-year-old woman said her upcoming jail sentence started with her wanting to help out a few stray cats. Nancy Segula said, it began with me feeding the stray kitties. Segula lives in Ohio in the Garfield Heights area, where feeding stray animals...
The Garfield Heights of all names that she could live in.
She did that on purpose.
No kidding.
Where feeding stray animals is against the law. How ironic. But that didn't stop her from helping out a few cats when her neighbor abandoned them. Quote, I used to have a neighbor that had a couple of cats, and he moved away. When he moved away, he left the cats. End quote. I used to have a neighbor that had a couple of cats, and he moved away. And when he moved away, he left the cats. That's the quote.
That is, I mean, there's the story right there.
Yep.
You heard it from us.
The feline started showing up on her back porch seeking food and water. In 2017, she received her first citation. Overall, she received 4 citations. Okay, I'm going to stop doing the voice because I can't focus on what I'm actually saying when I do the voice.
Before we go on, do you know we could get sued for what we do here?
What?
Just not necessarily rebroadcast. Because I watch baseball a lot. Well, I did until Dish decided to not pay the channel that I usually steal it from. And so they dropped it. But every time I watch a Cardinals game, it says, this broadcast is copywritten. You cannot rebroadcast. And they basically say you cannot discuss.
Right.
Basically discuss what you see on here as a live broadcast. So basically what we're doing here, we could get sued for, I'm sure, too. For just even talking about a news story that somebody else copywrote.
Okay, if KOCO News Channel 5 ABC from God only knows where decides to come sue us for the case of Nancy Segula and her stray kitties, then so be it. I will take it to court and fight it like hell. Anyway, thank you for interrupting for that point. I appreciate it.
No problem. I just wanted to give you a warning that we might get sued for all we got.
Doesn't that go for any commentary on anything, though? And doesn't that fall under like commentary law and all that stuff?
No, I'm kind of hoping they sue us. It's just like, I'm taking you for all you got. It's like, well, okay,
sure, why not?
I got like 2 quarters and
You
half
can have
dollar?
my clown and Sharky the dead shark.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
All my valuables. Okay, quote, I would always feed them and take care of them because I was worried about them and I'm a cat lover, she said. And then, once my neighbors around here started being unhappy about it, they called the animal warden. Animal warden. Imagine having
This
that
is a title
badge.
in Garfield.
That badge. What's your
What does the
position?
badge look
I am
like?
the animal warden. Keep it down in there. There's cats just like clanking cups on jail bars.
Having like jail prison riots and
Yes.
like attacking each other.
These people take their animals a little too seriously.
Apparently.
Her
I mean,
latest,
she was arrested for fuck's
right.
sake.
Her latest citation. It's like feeding homeless people. That's what they're treating it like, which is bullshit to begin with. Where people get in trouble for feeding homeless people.
Without a license.
Yes.
You gotta have a license to feed a homeless person.
Of course.
And you gotta have a license to peddle on the streets too. So,
right.
so the guy you're giving food to has a license, and you have a license to give him food. It's
God,
just like,
God
can
bless our
I-
cops.
It's like you gotta exchange licenses before you make the transaction. It's like, wait a second.
I'm gonna give you
Before
some
I
free
take this food from you, here's my license
Right.
to peddle. Do you have a license to distribute?
I don't have a penny
okay.
in my name.
Okay, we're good.
I don't have a penny to my name, but I do hang my license on the wall of my cardboard box if you'd like to see it.
Oh, it's such a freaking stupid world. The Democrats have it figured out, though. They'll fix it.
Her latest citation required her to appear before a judge last week who sentenced her to spend 10 days behind bars at the Cuyahoga County Jail for
10
feeding the
days.
cats.
How old
Any
is she?
days. What?
How old is she?
Old.
70
She's
something?
old. I mean, she's 79.
She'll probably die in jail.
She's in jail for 10 days for feeding cats and dies in jail of old age. My
She's not gonna
grandma,
last.
my
It's a
grandma's
life
a
sentence
gangster.
for her.
She died in jail.
It's a life sentence for her.
Pretty much. Oh, she looks so ancient and so nice. That's enough of that. It's making me sad. All she wanted to do was feed her goddamn kitties. And you threw her in jail, you monsters. Anyway, speaking of monsters, you want to talk about Epstein yet or not?
Yeah, we'll talk about a monster. I got some more news for later. Maybe if we do a bonus or something. So, does everybody? Do we assume everybody knows who Jeffrey Epstein is? Stein? How are we pronouncing it? We gotta
Epstein.
come to a conclusion here.
Just
Epstein.
think Jewish.
Okay, Epstein.
Epstein.
Wait, do all Jewish people have a lisp?
Yes. Yes, they do.
And they play chess.
Of course. Of course. You gotta read the whole article
Oh, okay, I gotta pull up another article.
in that voice.
Not happening. The only Jewish voice I can think of is Bernie Sanders.
I know. Who doesn't actually sound all that Jewish, really. He doesn't sound the stereotype. He just sounds like
Jeffrey.
a grumpy old man.
So Jeffrey Epstein is he's the guy who has the island. We've talked about it many times. So if you don't know, go back and listen. He's got like that weird chessboard looking temple on his island.
66-year-old pedo billionaire is how the Sun describes him.
Go to type in Jeffrey Epstein arrested, and it auto populates to Jeffrey Epstein arrested development. Was Jeffrey Epstein on arrested development?
What?
I'm gonna have to look into that later.
What?
So Jeffrey Epstein got he was accused probably 10 or 11 years ago of raping little girls and having little girls on this island, and all these big wigs come to this island, including the Donald, Bill Clinton. And the funny thing is, all these diehard Republicans are like, well, Bill Clinton was there. Well, freaking Trump's name is in this. He's got this black book of names of people who
What
have
I've
visited
heard,
there.
and I'm not a Trump supporter, so this is not why I say it. But
He
what
was
I've heard,
infiltrating it. Was he infiltrating?
no, what I've heard is that he never went to the island, but he was in the logs because he basically took a ride on the plane from a place to another place within the states, out of convenience because he knew somebody who knew somebody who knew Jeffrey Epstein, and it was a convenience thing. From what I've heard, and I could be wrong, he never went to the island.
Be it may, yes or no, who cares? All these bigwigs have been there, including, I think one of the princes. I can't remember which one.
Probably all of them.
Probably all of them, but one of the princes was there, and he was named, and he was supposed to be like on trial for what, like the stuff he's been there, but you can't touch the royal family. I mean, what's MI6 gonna go arrest a prince? No,
right.
he's untouchable. But all these bigwigs have gone there, including.
Can I just say
Bill
before we
Clinton.
get too deep into this, the real story here is that this is mainstream news. Like I never thought that this was going to happen. It was just kind of like okay, if that's going on, that sucks. What are we going to do about it? It happened though.
When it happened in 2008 or whenever he got implicated before, he just got kind of a slap on the wrist, and he's a registered sex offender. But has that really affected him in any way? He
when
has
you live
his
on
own
your own
private
island, what difference does it make?
Yeah, it's not like you're living near schools anyway. I mean, all registered sex offenders can't do is like live near schools or parks and shit like that. So fast forward to now, about, what was it, a month ago? He was arrested for sex trafficking, because then they were trying to get him for, I think, sex trafficking, but I think he only got found guilty for the one girl that came forward against him.
Is that all?
Originally. And so it's just for like having sex with a minor is all it was. All he got a slap on the wrist for. So basically statutory rape, and now he's a registered sex offender. So fast forward to now, this article is on the Daily Beast, so you know it's legit. So this is original arrest. This one's going to take a little time because there's weird stories that I just found like literally 5 minutes ago that go into this that you probably haven't even heard yet. But so let's talk about his arrest first.
Probably do an episode just on this. And Scott's been doing pretty good on covering it, but we can't spend the whole time talking about this. We could spend the whole time talking about this.
We need to at least mention a couple of these things. So originally, Jeffrey Epstein got arrested for sex trafficking of minors, and that is a little more than a slap on the wrist. And if it's not, then there's going to be like rioting in the streets if this guy gets off for this. So this article goes to say, billionaire pedophile, I like that title. Billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was arrested for allegedly sex trafficking dozens of minors in New York and Florida between 2002 and 2005. Do you think he actually stopped after 2005? Do you think that's something I'm just going to give this up?
No.
He will appear in court in New York on Monday. I don't know when this came out. This came out on the 12th of July. So that Monday, he's supposed to appear in court, according to 3 law enforcement sources. Epstein, who owns a New York City mansion and an island in the Caribbean, was being held at the federal lockup in Manhattan ahead of his court date. Saturday's arrest by the FBI and NYPD crimes against children task force comes about 12 years after the 66-year-old financier, I don't know how to pronounce that, essentially got a slap on the wrist for allegedly molesting dozens of underage girls in Florida. For more than a decade, Epstein's alleged abuse of minors has been the subject of lawsuits brought by victims, investigations by local and federal authorities, and exposés in the press. But despite the attention cast on his alleged sex crimes, the hedge funder has managed to avoid any meaningful jail time, let alone federal charges. The new indictment, which according to 2 sources will be unsealed Monday in Manhattan federal court, will reportedly allege that Epstein sexually exploited dozens of underage girls in a now familiar scheme, paying them cash for massages and then molesting or sexually abusing them in his Upper East Side mansion or his palatial residence in Palm Beach. Epstein will be charged with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors. Which if there's dozens of people, why is it just 1 count? Why isn't it 1 for each? Says could put him away for a max of 45 years. That's not enough for this asshole.
Well, he would.
The case is,
but
The case is being handled by the Public Corruption Unit of Southern District of New York, blah, blah, blah. Several of the billionaire's employees and associates allegedly recruited the girls for Epstein's abuse. Well, they should all be arrested too. And some victims eventually became recruiters themselves, according to law enforcement. Holy shit. The girls were as young as 14, and Epstein knew they were underage, according to details of the arrest and the indictment shared by 2 officials. I'm pretty sure his own people came forward on that, or at least ratted on him under pressure, is what I heard.
Yeah.
So all this to say, he was arrested for all this shit, and he might get some serious trouble for this. And again,
Hopefully.
I mean, this is what I said about Bill Cosby. This is what I said about Harvey Weinstein. Who the fuck did he piss off? Or was he just to the point where he was of no use again, where they're just like, okay, we're throwing you to the wolves. Sorry.
I don't know.
You're done.
It's hard
Because,
to say
I
on
mean,
this one. I feel like
obviously
this
he's-
one's a different case because he was clearly. I mean, he's clearly got more people in his back pocket than Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein does, and
Maybe.
he's somebody. If he goes down, there's a lot of other people that are going to be, following suit because, he is the first domino. If all the stories and rumors and theories and everything are true about all the people that went and were a part of this and were involved in the shit that he was involved in, this has a lot of implications.
So another article, I'm not going to read the whole article. Go look it up. This article says that the Epstein trial has 1 million pages of evidence, literally 1 million pages. The first paragraph says, Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking trial will have 1 million pages of discovery, including materials on devices seized from his Manhattan mansion, lawyers said today. And then it goes on to probably give a lot of the shit that I just said. But on top of that, as you kind of hinted at before, he had a suicide scare when he was sitting in jail awaiting his court appearance. He had... I can find an article if you want, but they found him unresponsive, curled up in a fetal position with marks around his neck, and they assumed he attempted to commit suicide, or
He's trying
in
to
the
choke
very
himself
least,
to death, right?
yes, or in the very least, either he tried to commit suicide, somebody tried to kill him, or he was trying to just get transported to medical facility where it'd be much easier to escape or just better treatment in general.
Yeah.
However, I read an article this morning saying that he showed up to court today. I think that was a week ago, wasn't it? It wasn't that long ago.
What?
But he showed
Court
up
date?
when he tried to kill himself or whatever
it wasn't that
happened
long
there.
ago. It was about a week.
Showed up to court today for his first court appearance. Since then, 0 marks on his neck whatsoever. Nothing. Absolutely not a hint. And if he was seriously trying to kill himself, I would think there would be some severe bruising.
He'd figure out a way by now, I would think.
Right. So then that gets into the weird stuff. That's not the weird stuff.
Oh.
This article came out today. It said the article is from MarketWatch, so I guess it's legit. I've never heard of it. But the title is Jeffrey Epstein planned a baby-making factory to spread his DNA across
I did see
humanity.
That. Yeah.
What
Yep.
the fuck? So it says, right at the beginning, it says, financier accused of sex trafficking also wanted to cryogenically freeze his head and penis, says the
As you
chairman
do.
of Transhumanist Group.
The
Jeffrey
too mu-
Epstein...
Hey, we've got the dick fridge. Just throw it in there.
And the head bucket.
And the
head bucket. Jeffrey Epstein...
Maybe they're not
dreamed
worthless.
dreamed of improving humanity by using his sperm to impregnate scores of women at his New Mexico ranch, and also wanted his penis and head frozen after death so they could eventually be reanimated, according to a report. How narcissistic
Wait.
can you be?
Do you put them on something, or do you just reanimate the penis and it's just
The head, yes. Just the penis and head. How narcissistic do you have to be to dream that you are improving humanity by impregnating scores of women?
That
Says 2 award-winning scientists and an advisor to large companies and wealthy individuals told the New York Times that since disgraced multimillionaire financier, how do you say that? financier,
Financier.
shared his plan for a baby-making factory in the desert on multiple occasions starting in early 2000. Computer scientist and writer John Lanier also told the Times that he once spoke to a scientist who related how Epstein's goal was to have 20 women at a time impregnated at his 33,000 square foot Zorro Ranch outside of Santa Fe. Lanier, who's been dubbed the godfather of virtual reality, said he spoke to the scientist who told him she worked at NASA.
Ayo.
During a dinner party at Epstein's Upper East Side townhouse. Lanier said the scientist told him that Epstein was inspired by the repository for germinal choice, a controversial sperm bank stocked with high-achieving white males, reportedly including as many as 5 Nobel Peace Prize winners that operated in California from 79 to 99. Lanier told the Times he suspected that Epstein, a convicted pedophile used his dinner parties to screen attractive women with impressive academic credentials as potential mothers for his children.
As you do.
Yes. The Times report didn't make it clear whether he planned to have sex with the women. Obviously he did.
No.
Well, I guess as long as they're under the age of consent, then possibly. But otherwise, he'd probably just artificially inseminate.
Right. Not worth my time. Just shoot it up there with the turkey baster.
He says, but there's no evidence he made good on the ego-driven scheme. Epstein, 66, who also was fascinated with the unproven science of cryogenics, in which people's bodies or body parts are frozen at very low temps so they can be brought back to life in the future, the Times said.
So homeboy's like raping underage girls, thinking he's doing the Lord's work by making the world a better place. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yes. Yep. And he's a
psychopath.
And clearly he's a transhumanist too, which you've had transhumanists on your podcast before, interestingly. Yeah, you had a guy that believed in like...
No, I said I have. It wasn't a question.
Oh, there was...
Zoltan Istvan.
There was an upswoop on the end of there, like Ron Burgundy?
No.
Epstein cultivated relationships with elite scientists, including the late theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking and the late Nobel Prize winner Murray Gell-Mann, who discovered the quark to pursue his interest in controlled breeding and other fringe theories. Blah, blah, blah. Lots of things here. A lot of big, not only like big political heads, but really big science heads too.
Like actual heads?
Well, yeah, the reanimated.
This is all making me think of Futurama. They probably hit the dick on the head with their head in a jar. Like they have all the presidents and all the political figures and stuff, heads in jars and stuff that they can seek counsel with.
So here's a quote. You ready for this quote?
Sure.
It's by, let's see, Vice Chairman Ben Gortzel of the Times. It says, the stuff I'm reading about him in the papers is pretty disturbing and goes way beyond what I thought his misdoings and kinks were. Yuck, he added. It's
why? You told us. Yuck.
I think, is it yuck or yetch? It's Yeccch. I'm assuming they meant yuck. Yuck.
Yuck. It's like it's the Jewish word for yuck.
Oh, gotcha. It reminds me of when Michael Scott would do that right. On The Office. He'd be like, ugh.
Yes. Anyway.
So, I mean, a little bit of news here with this Epstein character.
Yes.
But we're definitely going to have to do an Epstein episode because this guy... Epsteinisode?
Yes.
He's a weird cat. And I think it goes way beyond even what we probably are talking about here.
Yes, there's a bunch, and if you guys want more, tune in every Friday. Where this is currently sitting is normally QAnon Chronicles. Scott was unable to deliver an episode this week, which added to the reason why we needed to do this even more so than us really wanting to do it again. But Scott does a great job of breaking down this case, and we could definitely dig into it much deeper, but it could be like a mini series at least of its own, and we should talk about some other less disgusting things. Unless you have anything else to say about
I mean, just
Stein.
This guy, like, I hope it goes deeper, but as you kind of led on to, it was like almost instantly at his arrest, all these distractions started popping up.
Yep.
Instantly. And then those distractions got distracted.
Right.
Like the number one distraction, which we've got into some kind of hilarious discussions on the forum about, is this whole raid on Area 51, which,
yes.
I mean, okay, here we go.
This is Jed Payne's design, which I think is brilliant.
If you can't see it because you're listening,
then
he's
screw
holding
you
up
for not watching.
He's holding up a T-shirt that says Area 51 raid, and it's got an elongated skull with wings and a halo over it. And it says 9/20/19, 3 a.m. It says, "We're just here for the Nephilim, church and other drugs," which is Jed's podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
so
thought it was pretty funny.
It is. It's a cool shirt. So this Area 51 raid.
Yeah.
It started out on a Facebook forum. Do you remember the name of the Facebook page?
Like the title is
shit
like
posting,
shit posting such and such.
Something.
Like
it's basically
clearly a joke, you would think.
Well, it's basically a page that like generates memes from what I've read. Like it's a meme generating page,
which is like 90% of the internet now.
Right, and so
it's almost bigger than porn now.
Whoa.
Yeah, giving them
People
a
are
run for
getting
their
off
money.
to memes. People are getting off to memes.
Yes.
So this Area 51 raid started out, I think, as a joke. I want to say a joke, but man, this thing like boomed fast.
It's got some good timing too.
Within like 2 or 3 days, probably, of me seeing the post, I think you might have sent it to me first.
Yeah, I invited you and a couple other people.
Yeah, and I invited my friends. Within a couple days, it was up to like 250,000 yeses or maybes for this event, because they made an event out of it on Facebook. And within a couple weeks, that's
really all it is. They didn't make an event out of it. That's all it is right now, as far as I know. There's not even like a website or anything, is there?
No, I don't think so. But within a couple weeks, they were up to like 2 million people. And it got so big, and this is what cracks me up with things like this, and also makes me wonder about the validity of it, is when the government actually steps in and comments on it, or the big news sources commented. Because at one point, the Department of Defense or the Air Force or somebody, because it's an Air Force base is what supposedly it is, an Air Force training site. And the Air Force stepped in and was like, "Don't do this. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
We will defend ourselves and our country." And so
that makes me think it's not like a distraction necessarily. Like,
right. Well, yeah.
I have parts on both sides.
I feel like the Air Force kind of has the opinion that I do, and like, that's a joke, but what if it's not?
What? There's some crazy people out there, some crazy motherfuckers that will take this seriously.
This isn't a joke.
And you do realize that if you do this, we're talking about domestic terrorist attack here on a military base.
Right. And so, so they came out and said, and the latest article I read was CNN said that, let's see, it says, note, this is CNN.com, so clearly it's legit.
It's huge.
But this article is titled, "Note to those hoping to raid Area 51. There's not enough space." There's not enough space. That's why we shouldn't raid it.
Not enough space?
Yes, that's what it says. That's just what CNN's reporting. Clearly, it's too small. Okay, I'll get into this. It says, yes, people are seriously planning to travel to Area 51, which
says who?
Nate Tucker, whatever we call him these days.
Yeah.
He promised you that he would show up at your doorstep.
Well, I told him if he does show up at my doorstep, I told him I'm not going unless he shows up at my doorstep and has some cryptic words like get in the car or a storm is coming or something like that.
And
and he has to be dressed in attire that is kind of like Mad Max or like some sort of like what's the word? After world thing. What's the word?
Post-apocalyptic type shit.
Yeah, that's not the word I'm looking for, but yeah, that.
Sure.
And he has to be holding at least a baseball bat, some sort of weapon.
At least, yeah, some kind of weapon.
If he does that, no questions asked. I'll get in the car.
Right.
He can take me wherever he wants.
My response to you saying I'm not going because we'll probably all die was this: what if this is our Bohemian Grove? What if this is like we would be the Alex Jones of Bohemian Grove for Area 51?
It's not.
It could be. It could be.
There's a huge difference here. The difference is Alex Jones and two other people snuck into Bohemian Grove, which is a thing that is not as heavily guarded. It's not a military base. Actually, a friend of mine, Tim Kennan, just messaged me and said that his friend just snuck into Bohemian Grove about a week ago and got asked to leave.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't get any information. It wasn't anything. He didn't see anything. He didn't get far enough, but he did get in, and they realized it very quickly and made him leave.
Yeah, right.
But the difference is a couple of people sneaking into a thing in the woods is much different than 2 million people, which is, I mean, it's 2 million on Facebook click going, which means I'm in bands. I know how many people show up that say that they're actually going. It's probably going to be about 200 people.
I'd say maybe 25.
Sure. Even if it was 2, like they'd probably have a better chance if it was fewer in sneaking in than they would trying to storm it.
I'm not even necessarily saying let's go sneak in and storm it. But even if we were the reporters at Waco that were up on the hill filming.
Yeah. Sure.
As the place caught on fire, I'm just fine standing out in the desert outside of Nevada, Area 51 in Nevada. It's in Nevada, right?
Sure.
I think so. Just filming from a distance. That would be fucking awesome.
Okay.
I'm down for that. I have no intention of
Craig,
Naruto.
If you are down for that, then I will #hire Craig if he goes and does that. Are you willing to do it for real?
With you. Yes, with you.
Oh, with me now? Why me?
You got the camera equipment.
I'll give you the camera. You can take it with you.
You don't want to go stand at a distance?
You're out of excuses.
They can't kill us all.
They can. So, they really can.
Back to this article. Yeah, I know. I've seen the 50 cal machine guns that they have on their airplanes. They could just wipe 2 million people out in two passes with that freaking plane.
It's like, even if they couldn't kill us all, okay, so they kill most of us, and then the 20 others dig their way through probably high security underground tunnel systems to find what? Alien bodies?
An alien. Yes, they found the aliens. Good job. Back to the article, how there's not enough space. CNN reports, yes, people are seriously planning to travel to Area 51 on September 20th. I hate just the condescending tone makes me want to go.
Yes,
just because
they're making the assumption that everybody's retarded, and they are going to go. And they're also saying if you do go, you're retarded.
Well, yeah, obviously. So it says on September 20th, blah, 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 in Rachel, Nevada, who has no vacancy to prove it, blah, blah, blah. The small town was shocked when it realized people were coming, as satirically suggested by a Facebook page, Storm Area 51, they can't stop us all. The Air Force Base in the desert has
they always leave out the fact that at the end of the title, there's like an emoji with a winky face with its tongue sticking out. Like,
right.
We're saying that this isn't a joke. It's in the title.
Right. So it says the Air Force Base in the desert has spurred conspiracy theories as a UFO and alien holding site for decades. Screw you and your condescending bullshit. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe it's gotten this much attention. We deal with this on a weekly basis, but nothing to this scale. Can you imagine the restroom facilities getting overloaded in this town?
It'd be worse than Starbucks in California.
Right, exactly. However, the big problem remains. If more people come, where will they stay? That's the big problem. That's the big problem right there.
That is the biggest problem. People don't know what tents are.
Rachel, the town, has a population of 54 people. That's not a town. That's a very small
That's
neighborhood.
a potluck.
And it's surrounded by ghost towns and desert. The town boasts only 4 businesses in its city limits, and the Little Inn. Oh, that's clever. The inn there, the hotel is Little A apostrophe LE apostrophe Inn. Lee Inn is the only one that provides lodging and food. According to its website, the inn is booked solid for September 20th, the day suggested for the raid. Booked solid, yes.
So
there's
at least
14 people are going. Because it says the inn has
How does
14...
an inn stay open when there's only 54 people in the town?
The inn has 14 rooms, so it's like the Blue Spruce Lodge in Aledo.
Right.
And camping space is now the last available option. There's an entire freaking desert to camp in. What are you talking about? Yeah. All the way around it.
Right.
According to its website, the inn is booked. I read that one. To make matters worse, Rachel's only gas station closed in 2006. So visitors will have to fill their tanks 50 miles away in Alamo, Nevada. How did these people survive?
Right.
How are they still there?
50 miles away? Holy
it's 54 aliens is what it is.
Right.
It's got to be. The town.
Somebody get me the contact information for the owner of the ALE Inn and let me talk to her.
Right. The next closest town is also Alamo, and most of the hotels are already booked solid in Alamo even. Wow. So safety of the tourists is a top concern. That's the big problem. Is the safety of the tourists?
Well, yes.
Is it the fact
yes, it is, because they're going to get shot.
Right. Sheriff Lee said that the normal draw for that time of year is hunting and mountain biking, but it only brings in a few hundred tourists. Even 1,000 visitors could put strain on emergency services. We could probably handle it, but it could definitely cause issues. No, you couldn't handle it if all 2 million people show up. I'm sorry, but you can't.
This is like the opposite of Waco.
All right.
It's like
heaven forbid
a bunch of nobodies storm a military base and get shot instead of the other way around.
Storming a bunch of nobodies. Heaven forbid the number is 5,000 people, where you almost double the size of the county. But the number of the people isn't even Lee's main concern. But they just said before that was the biggest problem, but that's not even the biggest concern, it just said. He said exposure to the environment.
Just wait till you get the biggest concern. Just wait. It's coming.
Exposure to the environment is what he is worried about.
What?
Exposure to the environment.
Is
his biggest concern. I could see people with a lot of heat-related issues, not gunshot wounds, but heat-related issues. And with our unlimited resources up here, it could definitely jeopardize their safety. The number of people could overwhelm our EMS in a hurry. Says he urges people not to storm the facility because of heat-related injuries.
If you storm
it, you might get a heat stroke.
If you storm this military base, you might suffer heat exhaustion.
He encouraged people
because they're going to firebomb your ass.
He encourages people to come see the stars or take in the terrain, but not to try to get into Area 51. It says if they do, they may be meeting Lee and his officers because they could be called to help with trespass. I don't think they need your little podunk sheriff ass to help defend them. I'm pretty sure. Your Barney Fife.
Call in the sheriff of a town of 51 people to help defend this military base. 54. Sorry.
Get it right.
3 died while you were reading that article.
Barney Fife is going to get to come in to defend the military base. One of the highest classified military bases, which up until 5 years ago was listed as not even a thing. It wasn't even there. It was denied to even exist until not too long ago. And finally they had to come out and be like,
Earth.
This does exist, but we just fly planes there.
Right. And weather balloons.
Apparently. So
and swamp gas.
So we're doing this, right?
Yep.
Did you say swamp ass?
Swamp gas. Close.
Oh.
Area 51 jokes. Anyway, we should probably wrap this one up if we're going to do a bonus, because I've got some more nonsensical ones, and
Yeah,
our members deserve some bonus, so we might as well do it.
Sure.
Over there. We've gone on for an hour, and we did not give the shout-outs. We did not take the breaks. We did not do the stuff that we normally do. I'm going to say it's because we love you and didn't want to interrupt this gold nugget of content, but it's actually because...
You know who you are.
It's actually because my computer sucks. Anyway, thank you guys all for listening, and if you want more of this nonsense, you can go join the Downers Club at tsidpod.com/support or patreon.com/the system is down. Sign up for as little as $5 a month and get the extended episode here and bonus episodes of the show every single week. Craig, any final thoughts?
Let's storm the frickin' base.
Yes.
Let's do it.
My favorite meme was storm the Clinton embassy or whatever. They can't, or we can't suicide ourselves. We can't all suicide ourselves or something like that.
That is funny. So, on a quick note on that, I did see an article. I didn't read it. It was a couple weeks ago that somebody was publishing a book that was like on the Clinton campaign or something, and it said that the Clinton White House was pretty much a coke and whore den like the entire time they were in office, which is no surprise to us. But for somebody to come out and say it, how long before that guy gets suicided?
Yeah. And if you want to hear more about that, and you want to hear more about how pictures of Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein were completely removed from all search engines and everything on the internet all at once, go join the Downers Club. Yep, we'll talk about that on the other side. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll see you in probably a year. Bye. Please clap.
Yeah.